the Good News Wednesday show. Good News Wednesday's finally here. Let's stand up and give a cheer. Watch the boredom disappear, 'cause Good News Wednesday's here.
Hi, everybody. It's Karen Donovan again with another episode of the Good News Wednesday show, designed to put a smile on your face, put a little fun in your week, and a little inspiration to get you through what is probably another challenging week in your life. Today, we have some cool things to cover, but first, as you know, we want to get you thinking. So here it comes. I know you've been waiting for it. The question of the week. How could a man go outside in the pouring rain without a hat or an umbrella and not get a hair on his head wet? Think about it. I'm sure if you've listened to our questions before, you've got the answer. If a man goes outside in the pouring rain without a hat or an umbrella and doesn't get a hair on his head wet, how come? That's right, folks. He's bald. Oh boy, I got you again, did I? Hope not. Anyway, now let's talk about a serious topic, and that is the problem with perfectionism. Here tonight on Strategies for a Happy Life. So, have you ever found yourself in a situation where you wanted everything to be perfect? You didn't expect anything less than perfect from yourself and those around you. If that's the case, then you may be or have perfectionist tendencies. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting to have something be great. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to be a high achiever. But if you have that little voice in your head that goes around and around after you did something and said, I just know I could have done that better. I want a do-over. Do you ever have that feeling? In that case, you end up feeling depressed, demoralized, and demotivated because you didn't achieve perfection. And if that's the case, then we may be talking to you today. I know sometimes it's hard because you want to have everything be the way that you think it should be. And I'm here to tell you that there is an antidote for perfectionism. So let's talk about that for a second. Many people who tend towards perfectionism, they get fearful about being mediocre. A friend of mine puts it as, the people in the middle of the class. If you were always at the top of your class and there were those people behind you in the middle of the class that were having fun. They were talking, they were passing notes, they were, laughing, making jokes, and you were there to get an A plus. All right. So that's what perfectionist people people who have a tendency towards perfectionism are afraid of losing, is they're afraid of becoming one of those people in the middle of the class. Well, I'm here to tell you that there are some antidotes to perfectionism. And the first one is, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Pareto principle before, but it says that 20% of your actions result in 80% of your accomplishments. All right. So let's just say that you have those perfectionist tendencies and you do a good job. And at the end of the day, that time that you spent results in 80% accomplishment. Now, if someone were to come along and see the results of your efforts, they would say, oh, good job. If you spent another 80% of your time trying to accomplish the other 20% so you could be perfect, do you think that those folks would actually notice the difference? Probably not, because you're already 80% there. So the first solution or antidote to your situation would be to not be so upset that you only achieved 80% of the results, because chances are that's good enough. And Voltaire said, the perfect is the enemy of the good. And we have to take that to heart, because a lot of times we want to be perfect, but if it's good enough, it's good enough. Remember Mona Lisa's smile? If they messed around with it anymore, it might not have been as famous as it was. That's a good example right there. Number 2, learn from your mistakes. Your mistakes are golden opportunities to learn and to practice. And if you always are striving for perfection and you're always perfect, well, then you'll never have those golden opportunities, will you? And neither will your friends, your family, or your customers or clients. Because a lot of times, that's what makes us human. When we make a mistake, we're never going to be perfect. We know that. There's always bound to be something that comes out not exactly right. So what can we do? We can learn from that. We can learn that that's a golden opportunity. One of my favorite sales trainers of all time, Tom Hopkins, said, I never see failure as failure itself, but only as an opportunity to perfect my performance and practice my techniques. And he said that many, many years ago, and I've taken that to heart. So if you have a situation where you did make a mistake and instead of beating yourself up over it, take the time and say, okay, what can I learn from this? And share that with other people. Say, you know what, I messed up on that particular thing. And here's what I think maybe we could do to fix it. And I apologize. And all of a sudden, the other person is starting to feel like, hey, this is a human being on the other end. So number 2, mistakes are a golden opportunity to learn. Now, number 3 is my favorite, and that is enjoy the journey. If you are looking so much toward perfection all the time, guess what happens? Instead of being able to enjoy yourself and enjoy the people around you, you're always beating yourself up over the fact that you've made a mistake or that somebody else made a mistake. And then they're, down and out because you've criticized them. So enjoy the journey. Take time to smell the flowers. As my dad said, life is short. Start with dessert first. And so if you have that tendency, just remember to take a deep breath, relax and say, instead of looking for everything that's going wrong, how about looking for things that are going right? Looking at the positive side. And a lot of times that will solve the problem of perfectionism. Tonight described you or someone you know. Take these 3 little tips and try them out and see what happens. And remember that if you try them, the chances are that you will have a buen viaje, a good trip. So, are you a perfectionist or do you have perfectionist tendencies? I have a little quiz. I'm going to put the link in the remarks down below so that you can check it out and see if maybe that's you. And if it is, no worries, because if you take our 3 simple tips to heart and try them out, chances are that then you'll be on the road to recovery and you too will be able to enjoy the journey. Buen viaje. Last week, we talked about 3 natural products that you could use in your cleaning. And I mentioned vinegar, baking soda, and salt. And I forgot one important thing for vinegar. It also repels mosquitoes. I will share this with you because my husband is highly allergic to mosquito bites, and he started using vinegar on a sponge before he goes out for his walk, and he has not, knock on wood, gotten any mosquito bites since. Now, tonight, I promised you that I would talk about 3 dynamite products that I use in my house to clean that are not necessarily natural, but they're worth it. The first one is the Mr. Clean Eraser. If you guys haven't tried them, they are unbelievable. Now, it's made, I'm told, out of melamine resin, which has a very interesting quality to it, and that is that it's very hard, but yet it's in the form of that sponge, and you can wet it. Now, what are the things you can do with the Mr. Clean Eraser? The first thing I discovered was cleaning the fronts of my kitchen cabinets. They're not wood, they're, vinyl clad, whatever. But it works like a charm, and they're wonderful on any kind of grease or grime, or like a coffee cup that's stained inside. If you clean it out with that, it takes the stains out almost immediately. Now, the only thing is you have to be careful. You don't use them on natural stone surfaces like your granite countertops, non-stick cookware, stainless steel, or wood, because it'll scratch it. It doesn't feel like it's going to scratch anything, but it's actually, very, very abrasive, even though it doesn't seem like it is. But I tried it on my ceramic tile floors that have a little bit of a grain to them, and it took out everything, really, even out of the grout. So that's the first dynamite product to give a try to if you haven't already. The second one is called Greased Lightning. Now, I did not know too much about Greased Lightning, but my friend Kelly shared it with me, and it is an unbelievable cleaner. It's a degreaser, and it takes off, like if you want to clean your stove or the sides of your stove, where all the cooking grease gets on, or underneath where the fan is, that kind of stuff. It removes soap scum really good on your sinks and so on. And it'll also, you can use it to pre-treat almost anything, ink, dirt, any kind of thing. And it's really it can be used on almost anything except suede, but I can't see anybody cleaning suede with grease lightning anyway, so I don't know why they even told me that. All right, so that's number 2. Now, number 3 is my favorite of all time because my mother taught me about this one, and this is called less toil. Now, it's not Pine Sol, even though it smells like Pine Sol, but less toil is utterly amazing. You can't find it everywhere anymore. You may have to buy it online. But what less toil is good for is, did you ever get like gum? Did your kid ever get gum in their hair? Did you ever get gum on clothes or in the carpet? Somebody stepped on gum and they came in the house. Oh my goodness. Even on the floor, on the carpet, anywhere. It gets it out. Tar, grease. It pre-treats your carpet. Just take a little teeny tiny bit on a cloth and rub it in the spot and make sure it's in a place where you've tested it out to make sure it doesn't wreck the color. But most tan carpets or whatever, that you will never notice that on there. Let's see, what else does less toil? Oh, any kind of adhesive, any kind of like adhesive tape or masking tape that's stuck on something, it'll get it off. And paint, like if, let's say you washed your paintbrushes, you used, paint thinner or whatever to get out. Well, if you're using oil-based paint, of course, not if you're using regular paint, water-based paint. But if you're using oil-based paint, and let's say you use paint thinner to get most of the paint out of the brush, take less toil and put it in a little jar and soak the brush head in there, and then keep wiping it out, and it'll dissolve all the rest of the paint. It's totally unbelievable. And so I think between those 3 things, your house is going to look spick and span this summer. That's my prediction. I hope you enjoyed this segment. And if you have a question for me for anything to do with houses, financing, fixing up houses, anything like that, just shoot me an email at Karen@homesbydonovan.com, and maybe I'll include your question on our next program. That's right, folks. Every Monday morning, we send you our Monday morning wake up newsletter. If you don't get it, order your copy now. Karen@homesbydonovan.com. And we'll send you your free complimentary copy. Okay, so this week's trivia question was about perfect, because we were talking about perfection. And the question is as follows: what is the perfect water temperature for swimming in a pool? Now, we may have some disagreements on this topic. Is it 60 to 65 degrees? A. B, 69 to 71 degrees. C, 72 to 88 degrees. Or D, 89 to 92 degrees. Well, now, if you're a polar bear or you live up north, you probably won't care if the water's 60 or 65. You'll probably jump in. I remember those days. But if you really like to enjoy your pool and be comfortable, if you are doing laps and doing some kind of exercise program in the pool, you'll want it closer to the 72 to 75 degrees at least. But if you're just going to float around and enjoy yourself, you're going to want it closer to 88. So I basically included all of that range in C, 72 to 88. So if you answered 72 to 88, then you were right. And if you answered 89 to 92, you are a boiled frog. Because that's a little too hot. That's the day that you have to put ice cubes in your pool. Okay. Anyway, enough said. I hope you enjoy your pool if you have one, or the beach, or wherever you go when it's time, which is coming quite soon, actually. Until next time, we hope that you enjoyed our show this evening. If you liked it, please give us a thumbs up on Facebook, or a like and a subscribe on YouTube if you're watching it on YouTube. And also don't forget to click the red bell on YouTube so that you are informed about future episodes of our program. Until next time, please remember to stay safe, take care of each other, and make it a great rest of the week.
Good News Wednesday's finally here. Let's stand up and give a cheer. Watch the board.